On a warm summer night in 1960, four Finnish teenagers decided to go camping at Lake Bodom, near the city of Espoo. Little did they know, this innocent outing would become one of Finland's most notorious unsolved crimes. Mila Björklund and Anja Maki, both 15, along with their 18-year-old boyfriends Seppo Boisman and Niels Gustafsson, pitched their tent on the shore of the picturesque lake. As night fell, the sounds of laughter and conversation faded into the darkness. But in the early hours of June 5th, something went horribly wrong. Between 4 and 6 a.m., an unknown assailant attacked the tent from the outside, using a knife and an unidentified blunt object. When the bodies were discovered later that morning, investigators were met with a horrifying scene. Anja Maki and Seppo Boisman were discovered inside the collapsed tent, while Mila Björklund was found outside. Her condition suggested she may have endured the most severe attack, raising additional questions about the perpetrator's motives and actions. But here's where things get strange. Niels Gustafsson was found alive, lying on top of the collapsed tent. He had a concussion, fractured facial bones, and multiple stab wounds. How had he survived when the others had not? The mystery deepened when unidentified bloodstains were found on a nearby tree. Forensic analysis revealed these stains didn't match any of the individuals at the scene. Adding to the puzzle, several items were noticeably absent from the campsite. The victim's keys were missing, as were some articles of clothing. Despite thorough searches of the surrounding area, these items were never found. Many locals pointed their fingers at Carl Valdemar Gillström, the grumpy owner of a kiosk near Lake Bodom. Known for his intense hostility towards campers, Gillström had a reputation for terrorizing visitors, cutting down tents, and hurling rocks at those who dared to venture near his property. Some even claimed to have seen him returning from the direction of the crime scene on that fateful morning, but fear kept them silent for years. Adding to the mystery, Gillström drowned in Lake Bodom in 1969, taking any potential secrets to his watery grave. Gillström wasn't the only suspect in the Lake Bodom murders. Hans Assmann became a person of interest, living just a few kilometers from the lake and surrounded by mystery. His suspicion grew when he showed up at a Helsinki hospital the morning after the murders, with his clothes reportedly stained with blood. Assmann, rumored to have KGB connections, arrived at the hospital on June 6, 1960, in a delirious state. His clothes had red stains, and he acted strangely, even pretending to be unconscious to get treated faster. Witnesses said they saw a blond man running from the crime scene soon after the murders. This matched Assmann's long blonde hair at the time. After this information came out, Assmann reportedly shaved his head. Also, the clothes he wore fit the description given by the children who saw the fleeing figure. Despite all the suspicion, Assmann had an alibi for the night of the Lake Bodom murders. He was supposedly in Germany at the time. In the decades following the Lake Bodom murders, Niels Wilhelm Gustafsson led a seemingly normal life. He married, raised 2 children, and eventually retired. But in 2004, everything changed. Finnish police reopened the case, citing new DNA evidence. The breakthrough? Blood samples from all 3 victims were found on Gustafsson's shoes. Investigators concluded that the killer must have worn these shoes during or after the murders. This revelation sparked a media frenzy. Gustafsson, now in his 60s, found himself at the center of a renewed investigation. He maintained his innocence, claiming, as he had for 45 years, that he couldn't remember the events of that fateful night in June 1960. The case divided public opinion. Some believed Gustafsson was finally facing justice, while others were skeptical. Police now theorized that Gustafsson's injuries, including a broken jaw, resulted from a fight with his friend Seppo Boisman, whom he then allegedly killed, along with the 2 girls. They suggested Gustafsson staged the crime scene to look like a random attack. Gustafsson's girlfriend, Björklund, suffered the most stab wounds, which suggests a personal vendetta. However, it's unlikely that Gustafsson would be driven to such extremes by mere teenage jealousy. Gustafsson's lawyers argued that the murders were committed by one or more unknown perpetrators. They also claimed that Gustafsson's severe injuries would have made it impossible for him to commit such an act. On October 7, 2005, Gustafsson was exonerated of the crimes. He was awarded €44,900 in damages for psychological trauma caused by the trial. To this day, the case remains unsolved, but the questions linger.